صلوات 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 على محمد.
Imam al-Mahdi is the awaited savior of mankind, and this is the story of his birth. The mother of the awaited Imam was called Narjis and was a princess, the granddaughter of Caesar, the emperor of Rome. Her mother was a descendant of Simon, the disciple and deputy of Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him. Lady Narjis's grandfather, the emperor, was anxious to marry her to his nephew. At the time, she was 13 years old. For the marriage ceremony, he gathered a great assembly at his castle. It included 300 monks and hermits, 700 of the noble knights, and 4,000 officials of the army. A special throne was made for her where she sat with the man she was about to wed. Christian priests were ready to ceremoniously honor them and pronounce the marriage. As her grandfather's nephew went up the throne, surrounded by huge crosses, the bishops stood up and opened their Bibles, when suddenly the palace started to violently tremble. All the crosses fell to the ground, and the throne crashed down as its pillars shattered. His nephew was knocked down unconscious. The bishops turned pale and were overcome with fear. A senior bishop said to her grandfather, "O king, preserve us from witnessing this ill-fated day, for this sort of phenomenon is a proof of the decline and disappearance of the Christian religion as we know it." The Caesar was annoyed and severely disturbed by this. He angrily commanded that the crosses be lifted and the pillars fixed. He ordered to continue the ceremony. Once again, a tremor hit the palace, causing great fear among the guests, who ran away leaving the palace, and the whole occasion was cancelled for some other day. One night after this, Lady Narjis saw a dream in which Prophet Jesus appeared with his disciples at the palace where the throne was erected. There they built a magnificent pulpit of light. Thereafter, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his wasi, Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, peace be upon him, and all his exalted descendants came into the palace. Prophet Jesus went forward to embrace Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who said, "O Spirit of God, I have come to seek the daughter of your wasi Simon for my son Hassan al-Askari, peace be upon him." Prophet Jesus looked at Simon who was with him and said, "Nobility and glory has come to you in this chance to unite mercy with that of the family of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his progeny." Simon consented, and all of them ascended to the pulpit of light, while Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his progeny, personally conducted the wedding service between Imam Hassan al-Asghari and Lady Narjis. Lady Narjis awakened from the dream, but since she was afraid, she dared not repeat the story to her father or her grandfather for the fear that they might kill her. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed the love for Imam Hassan al-Asghari, peace be upon him, in her heart. The intensity of this pure love was to the extent that Lady Narjis would not eat or drink for many days. She fell severely ill. Many famous doctors attempted to diagnose her and find her a cure, but none of them were able to do so. In fact, they predicted that Lady Nargis would not live long if her current condition prevailed. Desperate and despondent about her recovery, Caesar asked if she had any wish or desire to be fulfilled in this life. She replied by saying, "Dear grandfather, I see the doors of relief and hope being closed in my face. But if you would stop the torture of Muslim captives and prisoners and promise to release them from your jails and set them free, then maybe, through the intercession of Prophet Jesus and his mother, Lady Maryam, God will grant me good health." Caesar accepted her request and freed the Muslims. After that, Lady Nargis took some food and felt much better. 14 nights later, Lady Nargis had a dream where two divine ladies enveloped in heavenly splendor approached her. One of them was the Blessed Lady Maryam, who said to her, pointing at the second divine personality, "This is Fatimatu Zahra, the best of all the women, and the grandmother of your husband Imam Hassan al-Askari, peace be upon him." Lady Nargis respectfully received Sayyida Zahra, peace be upon her, and expressed to her her ardent desire to meet with Imam Hassan al-Askari, peace be upon him. Sayyida Zahra told her that in order to do so, she must verbally attest to the unity of Allah and the prophethood of her father, just as Lady Maryam and Prophet Jesus had done. Lady Nargis immediately recited the Shahada with full conviction. Thereafter, Lady Nargis met Imam Hassan al-Askari, peace be upon him, in her dream. One night, Imam Hassan al-Askari, peace be upon him, revealed to Lady Nargis that her grandfather was going to send out a big army to fight the Muslims on a certain day, and then he would join the army later on. When that happens, Lady Nargis was to follow them, taking a specific route and disguised as a maid in the company of some of the other maids. Lady Nargis did as she was told, and she soon found herself and the other maids in her company surrounded by a vanguard of the Muslims, for they were taken captives, and nobody knew that she was a Roman princess. Lady Nargis was able to converse in fluent Arabic language, as her father had hired her an interpreter who would teach her the language and the custom during her days as a princess in the castle. In the meantime, in Samarra, Imam Ali al-Hadi, peace be upon him, called for one of his trusted and loyal companions, Bashir ibn Sulaiman, who was from the respected lineage of Abu Ayyub Ansari, the companion of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and told him that he was appointing him for a very important, honorable, and sacred task whose details should not be disclosed to anyone. Imam Ali al-Hadi, peace be upon him, wrote a letter in the script of Rome and sealed it with his own noble seal. He placed the letter in a red purse with 220 dinars and then said to Bashir ibn Sulaiman, "Take this letter and go to Baghdad. Go to the ferry at the river Euphrates where the boats are being unloaded. Look out for the ship owner whose name is Amr. Observe when he exhibits a slave girl who would be wearing 2 silk garments and a veil to protect her from being seen or handled by the buyers. You will hear her call out in the